Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tips and Trades brought to you by Centimeter Perfect. My name is Liam. That is Jesse. You can find us as always at CMPerfect_AFL for our main podcast, which we didn't do this week. Instagram, Apple, Amazon, Spotify for the main podcast. So apologies. We did miss the main podcast this week because we had all the intentions, did we not, Jesse?
Well, I'd say we're completing Carlton, Liam, because they do the first half, and now we're doing the second half of our normal programming. So put us together, we're competent. Go us.
Go us. We love that. No, I've just come back from a little cheeky sojourn across to Bali, and I've come back a little bit under the weather, Jesse. So we're going to skip the main podcast this week, just give you the tips and the fantasy because it seems only fair to do that, Jesse, doesn't it?
Give the people something.
Give them something. Make sure they don't forget about us because we need to know that you don't forget about us. Jesse, enough groveling. We have some serious business
why are we
to
groveling?
it. I don't know. It's because that's how I feel right now. I feel like it's just my mindset. You don't have to grovel, Jesse, especially when it comes to the fantasy. We have got our fantasy competition going at the moment. And how'd you do last week, Jesse? How'd you feel?
I won a game. You know, to put this into context, we may never lose again. It's nice to win. Yeah. My team did very well. Harry Sheasel is a wonderful man. I've said this many times. And it's just nice to not be like near last like you. It's great.
Well, that said, I also had a win this week, and I'm not too sure how good I am to feel about this because my opponent had about 7 people not playing and I only just won. So listen, I'll take the win. It's fine. But yeah, I actually thought I was checking my little fantasy over in Bali. I was like, I've got a couple of really good players at the moment. Some in the hundreds, some in the 90s. And I looked at my score compared to everybody else's. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I don't understand fantasy at all, apparently. That's okay. That's okay, Jesse. We'll get the scores up now. We'll go through our fantasy first of all before we get to our tips in just a little bit so you can see how we are cracking on. So we have, Jesse, currently this week you had a lovely score of 1,876, taking you to 5139, 1634 for me, taking me to 4849.
That's 37, mate. I don't know if you can count.
What did I say?
34. Don't sell yourself short. Believe me, you need all the points you can get.
That is very true. That is very true. Look, like I said, I thought I was doing pretty well. I made a few moves this week. I've kind of made a big move as well. I've dropped Naz.
So have I. Me too.
Naz. There we go.
I'm done with Naz.
Who'd you bring in?
Nazaya, the contract year Messiah. I've brought in Josh Worrell.
Oh, I brought in a Josh Turner Dacos. So yeah, shall we see how that goes? See if that works out for me. Because Lord knows I need all the help I can get.
I'm also embracing a new strategy from now on in Tips and Trades, and you're welcome to follow this too at home. It's called the Chase the Wave strategy, where we're basically just going to, if we can get injury-free rounds, I'm just going to trade in players who are good that are about to play Essendon. And it's just going to work because they're really quite bad. Like, they're actually horrible. And so Marcus Bontempelli taking on that midfield, he may score 300 points before I captain him. So that's terrifying.
Yeah,
I've dropped Callahan as well because he has a bye. So see you, Finn.
I have already captained Bont but I was thinking about this just because we haven't done the main podcast. We'll go a little bit longer on this one. That's fine. But I was thinking about like how the better players playing against the poor teams, you think they should just stack them up. But sometimes I find the reverse happens. I find the big players tend to not do as well against the poorer teams. So I
Brownlow Pelly's been smacking the bad sides around.
That's true.
That is very going true. Out of fashion. So I think we could see a season high from the Bont.
All right. So Jesse's calling here first. Make sure if you got Bont in your team, you're making him the captain. Absolutely. Now next week, Jesse is round 4, so no punishment for me this week. Thank goodness. I do not need another one. Also, Ruben Jimmy's gone. So you can't do that to me again. But obviously after round 5, we'll have our second lot of punishments coming up for sure. Let's have a look at how we did. Obviously, we both had a win. Hooray. I beat the Matt Flintstones, who are, I believe you might know. And then also, and then you had a win over Lockie Neals. And then, do you remember the rest of the name, Jesse?
No, I don't. But all I know is I still managed to beat a team that got 1,800, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I did see that. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I only had one player. I think I had 3 players not playing this week. And
that must be filthy. Like, if you lose to an 1876 and you see scores 1637 winning, you'd be absolutely apoplectic that you would be. You've managed to get a loss in the win-loss column.
And you know what? Such is the nature of sports, Jesse. Just how it goes sometimes. It's how the cookie crumbles. Let's go to our ladder. Obviously, we've got a new person on top now. So the Mad Hatter has taken over from, I believe it was Magpie Militia was on top before. He's at a loss this week. He's dropped right there down. And Jesse, we're still down the bottom. Obviously, we've moved up the table a little bit with our wins, which is nice. But you are just ahead of me on percentage as we speak. All right. That is our lovely fantasy out of the way, Jesse. We've made some moves, made some changes, some big changes. I especially need to, because my upside vibes tactic isn't working as well in the AFL as it does in the NBA, which is fine. I have to shift my tactics. That's cool. But another thing we do, Jesse, is our tips. Our Just the Tips section of the show is starting right about now. But we use confidence points here, Jesse. What are confidence points?
Confidence points are our weighted scoring system for assigning our confidence throughout the round of tipping. So this week there are 8 matches because we still have buys. So the team we are least confident in will be worth 1 point. The team we are most confident in will be worth 8 points. Can't repeat your points. Whoever has the most confidence points at the end of the season between Liam, myself, and the Robo Man will be declared the champion. You don't need the most amount of tips, just the most amount of points.
That's right. The Robo Man is having a bit of a sucker at this stage of the year. He's not doing very well at all. Here are the scores, Jesse, leading into round number 4. I got 26 this last round, taking me to 78, extending my lead on you, who got 23, taking you to 73, and then Vin he nearly got you this week, but he got 22 this week, taking him to 57. Still still a little bit behind. They got these drugs have kicked in. Still a little bit behind where he'd like to be, I'm sure, at this stage of the season, given it's only round 4 coming up. So already being 16 behind is a bit of a.
Well, you were an April Premier last year as well. You did the St Kilda last year, so
that's true.
I wouldn't get too excited.
Oh, I'm not, Jesse. I'm a Freo fan. As are you. We keep ourselves in check the entire year. Doesn't matter how good we look.
Half the fan base don't.
No, that's true. All right. Well, without further ado, Jesse, we have some games to go through. Round 4. Oh, do you know what, Jesse? I'm going to put a quick timeout. I'll come back to us in just a second. All right, sorry for that, Jesse. We're back now with game number 1. Tell a lot of the people what we've got.
One take is overrated. We start round number 4 at the Gabba. Brisbane hosting the Magpies on Easter Thursday, kicking off our long weekend with a bit of thump with the 2023 Grand Final rematch. The James Aish Cup as well. Well, the original James Aish Cup with the two sides the great man played at before getting to Fremantle. Liam, this is an important matchup. Collingwood have started the season well, while Brisbane have only been fair to this point, so they're going to need to lift. The Robo Man goes first here, because he sucks.
As the Robo Man always does. All right, well, the Robo Man has gone for the Brisbane Lions with 3 points. Vin has done that. He says Collingwood are good enough to get this win, but still backing the Brisbane at the Gabba, but he just doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in it, which I think is a fair assumption. Jesse, now you are next. What do you say?
I'm Brisbane with 2. I'm just wary that Collingwood are very well organised at the moment, and they seem to have gotten a bit of belief going amongst the playing group. And it's not to say that they're a better side than Brisbane. I don't think that's true. But I think at the moment it's a more positive dressing room for Collingwood than it is Brisbane. And I don't think you can underestimate that lightning riding factor that the Pies bring into this game. Look, Brisbane are the better side. They should win. I've tipped them to do so, but I'm reserved with my confidence in that regard. So Brisbane, for me, will get the job done, but I'm expecting this to be a slog for 120 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a bit of a coin toss, this one, but I'm actually going the Pies, Jesse, for some of the reasons you've just said then, and we've spoken about this in previous episodes as well. I just like the team. I like how the team play together. Brisbane have obviously started to look like they knew what they were doing in the last quarter of last week's game, but it's taken them up till then. So I think there's still a little bit more, oil to get through those gears to make sure they're running smoothly. They've still got a lot of outs as well. Coin toss for me, but I reckon the Magpies are going to be too good. One confidence point for me. Whew. Jesse, next game.
Big blockbuster game on Good Friday. North Melbourne, who have started the season in good form, picking up 2 wins. They take on Carlton, who have started 3 first halves in great form, and then beat Carlton. They'll be desperate to turn this around against the Roos on their marquee match for the season. This is an interesting game, one I'm actually hoping to catch a little bit of, because I think we'll learn a lot about both sides here. But what's Vin's take coming? I'm interested to see what the Robo Man has to say.
Roboman Vin has gone for the Blues with 2. So not super confident. He says Carlton's form is genuinely concerning. Correct, Vin. Well done. Done your research there. Still thinks they can win if their midfield class actually starts to shine, which is actually, fair. It's a fair assessment. But only the 2 confidence points for him on that. Jesse.
I'm North with 3 because my running theory of I just have no confidence or trust in Carlton whatsoever is very much alive here. Even when it was 44-1 on Sunday, I was expecting a Melbourne comeback. And look what happened. Melbourne came back. They just, right now, they're just not a serious football side. They're absolute shambles on the field. And you can't take them seriously in that light. Now, North Melbourne will be incredibly disappointed to have lost to West Coast because they're within a hair's breadth of being 3-0 for a very generous start. So they'll be disappointed to have squandered that. I don't think Alistair Clark is going to want to squander this. He'll smell blood in the water. This is the game you go after and be a bit ruthless in. So North with 3 for me. I expect them to be hungry at the contest here. And don't be surprised if Carlton don't get the first half start they usually do, which leaves them in a real quagmire based on what we've been seeing.
Take that blood in the water, Jesse, and spear it on someone's face. I reckon they've gone for North Melbourne, or I have gone for North Melbourne with 5 confidence points. It's hard to. I mean, losing Cherry is going to be a big loss for them, but I can't agree with most.
Is Pittonet that good?
Do you know what? I had not thought of it from that lens. I only thought of it from the North Melbourne side.
I mean, he's been one of their best players this season, so you could argue yes, but also half the team's been dreadful. So swings and roundabouts. Swings and roundabouts,
but I think North will. I agree with everything you said, Jesse. Nothing more to add from me. They're going to want to back up from last week where they had a disappointing loss. I think they'll be too good for the Blues in the second half. Let's move on to the next one.
Two teams that would like to emanate Liam's fantasy name, the Upside Vibes, Adelaide taking on Fremantle at the Adelaide Oval. Both the Crows and the Dockers will have aspirations of finishing at the pointy end of the ladder of the season, but only one side can take a full 4 points unless they decide to share their Easter chocolates.
Yes, that's right. Well, Jesse, you know how we said last week that Vin's a huge fan of the Dockers? Mm-hmm. He hasn't changed that. He's still going to the Dockers. He's going Dockers with 5, so he's quite confident with the old Freo Dockers. He said Adelaide Oval is tough, but Freo's form has been elite early season. Questionable. Their ruck mid combo is causing some problems. Huge edge, which is kind of true, but coming up against a team of the caliber of Adelaide Crows, this is just me now, not Vin. Interesting pick from Vin there. Jesse.
Yeah, I'm Adelaide with 4. Fremantle have not beaten a side that is going to finish in above, 14th? 13th maybe, if Melbourne get a couple more wins. They've beaten a very young, inexperienced, and frankly bad Richmond side, although they're heading in the right direction. And they've beaten a slightly less young, but in the middle of a rebuild, and also bad Melbourne side at the moment, who just have way too many holes to be an effective team for 4 quarters against teams that should be in that top 10 bracket. So, I don't think you can take Fremantle seriously just yet against top sides, especially away from home. And especially with the mental fragility we saw in round 1 against Geelong. That was a fragile 22 out there, or a fragile 23 out there. We can't blame opening round for this, ultimately at the end of the day. So a big challenge for Fremantle. They need to win this, I think, to really set the tone for the season. I just don't think they will. Adelaide with 4 for me. They've got their own points to prove. They'll seek to do it here.
I ummed and ahed on this one for a little bit, Jesse. I have settled on our boys. We're only with 2. And this is probably coming back to how I tip sometimes. Again, you're the analysis guy, I'm the vibes guy. And the vibes for me are telling me that this is, like you said, the most important game so far this season for Freo to see where they're actually at. I'm going to back them in to do it. If they don't, then yes, we're going to have a lot of questions therein, I would say. Let's move on, Jesse, to the next one.
Football on Saturday, I take a burp at an opportune time. Richmond hosting the Power at the MCG. Just 1 win in 6 between these two sides. So they're going to have to find some form on both ends here. The Power humiliatingly lost to West Coast, having had such a dominant advantage on Sunday, while Richmond were never really in the contest after halftime against Fremantle, having put up a good first half for the second week in a row. Vin, how are you going with this one, mate? Because this is a game that I would describe as a game of football.
Yes, it is. And Vin has chucked a whole bunch of confidence points in this one, quite interestingly. Port Adelaide with 7. He's gone strong. He reckons there'll still be too strong for Richmond. Richmond's injuries are piling up. Port's best footy is clearly above the Tigers. 7 confidence points. Nice, clear to the point there from Vin there. Jesse.
Yeah, I'm still with Port, but at the inverse of the spectrum. I'm going Port with 1. I don't like Port at the MCG this season. I don't like Port this season. However, realistically, they should win this. However, the only side they've beaten is an abomination of a football club at the moment. And I'm just conscious of that. They've lost to North and West Coast, who were two teams that were probably expected to be below Port Adelaide this season. That's a real concern to the point where I wonder how this looks for Port, because if they lose this and they squander a start of West Coast, North, Essendon, Richmond, I mean, most sides in the competition not named in that would be 4-0 off that start. I would expect even a Melbourne to be at the very least 3-1. Carlton, probably 3-1 as well. So they can't afford to lose this game.
Not at all, Jesse. We spoke about this in our preseason ladder predictions just before the season started. We had Port missing the wild card, which I think was probably not too controversial. But we looked at their start of the season and saw how easy it looked. And we were like, oh, they actually could be fine. Like, they could get a really good run before it gets tough. And they have not done that. That said, I have also gone Port, only with the 3, so not too many confidence points either, but I can very easily see Richmond getting their first win of the season off the back of this as well.
Especially with how well the Tigers have been starting. Port right now under a bit of siege. They're not playing great footy. If things are hard straight away, I'm not sure this team has the mental strength at the moment to push through that. They strike me a bit like Fremantle. They strike me as a fragile team, especially on the road. So if they can't break down those barriers, I mean, we saw the heads drop against West Coast. As soon as the Eagles turned on a bit of momentum and got going, you saw heads dropping around the ground. So if that happens again, but earlier with the Tigers, much like the Tigers did with Gold Coast and also Fremantle, there's every possibility they get the job done here.
Speaking of the Eagles, Jesse, let's move on to the next game.
They host the Sydney Swans in the 2006 Grand Final rematch. Hopefully, it's a game as good as that, because that was excellent. This, however, has the potential. Ago. Exactly. This has the potential to be a sneaky game here, because West Coast at home, riding off a couple of big wins, they'll be feeling up and about. They take on a Sydney side who will be desperate to prove themselves, with a Sydney coach who will be looking to get a win over his former club. Vin, interested for his thoughts here, because this is two sides that are in similar form lines, but probably not expected to finish close to each other when the season's done.
No, and I think Vin does take a lot of that, a lot of his ideas based on the overall holistic look at the season rather than what's happened so far. So he's on Sydney with 4, which is probably not as strong as I was expecting. So maybe I've been proven wrong off the bat there. But the analysis that he gave was Eagles have been good at home, and being at home helps, but Sydney are a far more complete side. That's all he's given. But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles for Vin. What about you, Jesse? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I've gone Sydney with 6. Usually with West Coast since we've been doing this competition, has been you kind of default to West Coast being one of the higher confidence point teams. While they are this week, they're not as high as a couple of others. This is just a difficult game for the Eagles, because I don't think Sydney are the type of side to get blown away early. But, weirdly, much like Fremantle, much like Port Adelaide, potentially a fragile side, especially on the road. I mean, we've seen that with Sydney, especially with their outs that they've had. They have fallen apart. They've had a much tougher draw than probably some other clubs have. But, they were poor at the start against Carlton. They were poor at the end against Hawthorn. So, they're not bomb-proof. I still don't think they're that good, to be honest. So, not out of the question the Eagles could win 3 in a row, which is, given where they were last season, that's almost inconceivable to say that 3 months ago. But credit to them. They have momentum right now. And, they're probably playing Sydney at the ideal time, I would say. Early in the season, still a bit of nerves, still a couple of key outs. At home, this is the time to get them.
Yep. 100%. Jesse, I've still got copy and paste that, Sydney with 6 as well. I would be very happy to lose those 6 points if the Eagles could somehow find a way to win this as well, because then that might mean that what we said a couple of weeks ago is they may never lose again. They may have found the secret recipe has been found. So who knows? But it'd be good to see them get this. But I think Sydney are going to be too strong. Jesse, let's move on to the next one.
Melbourne hosting the Gold Coast Suns at the MCG. The Demons coming off a difficult couple of weeks. They were well beaten by Fremantle, but were excellent against Carlton in the second half. So 6 quarters of bad football, followed by 2 quarters of excellent football. It gets you a win. That's all you need there. The Suns have had a blemishless start to the season, despite losing Christian Petrarca, who won't get to play his former side on their home deck. Vin, very interested to see how he goes with this. I'm expecting one result, but is that what we're going to get?
Yeah, that's what you're going to get. Gold Coast with 6 for Vin. Undefeated and genuine midfield dominance. Melbourne is shaky. He says it's not a spicy upset. It's a real pick. Thank you. I don't think anyone would have picked. Thank you, Vin. Well done. Yes, so that's what he got. Suns with 6.
Okay, then. That was weird. Gold Coast with...
Look, what do you want? What do you want, Jesse? You put things into a computer and they're going to spit out some words at you. And I am just doing the job of reading them words. And they're going to be weird sometimes. And I refuse to edit them to make them not weird.
And you do that job. Thank you. Gold Coast with 7 for me. The Suns are just far too good, I think, for Melbourne at this stage. They'll want to be winning more than their fair share of games this season to be at the top of the ladder. I expect them to be able to do the job here.
Yeah, Gold Coast with 7, Jesse. I think this one will be an easy one at the end of the day. Melbourne should give them a fight, as they've been doing so far this season, but no, the class of the Suns will be way too good, and Milo agrees with me. Jesse, let's go to the next game.
Western Bulldogs host an absolute beat-up on the turf of Marvel Stadium when they, I'd say play the Essendon Bombers. I don't think it's going to be much of a play. It's going to be ow, ow, ow. This is going to be a watch.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch this game.
This is one of the games where I just want to watch it to see how bad it gets. It's going to be one of those ones. And I'm always disappointed by those games, though, because you're like, oh, this is going to be a bloodbath. And then it's like 60 points. You're like, eh.
No. This will be a bloodbath. Do you remember this game last year?
No, I don't.
It was a Friday night game, unsurprisingly, for Essendon in 2025. And it was 100 points. And they were thoroughly smacked. I'll let Vin go first. But,
Bulldogs,
come on.
I think Bulldogs with 8. Jesse?
Bulldogs with 8. Now, this is not worth any confidence points. We're gonna play guess the margin between us, Liam, as well. Okay. Not worth any confidence points. That's fine. Unless I get it, in which case I'll have 100. I'm going to say Dogs by 115.
I haven't done my tip yet, Jesse.
That's fine. It's now your go. That's how the tips work.
Bulldogs with 8, Jesse. What did you say? 100 how many?
115.
All right. I'm going to go. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to say 132 points, Jesse.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be epic.
Aaron Norton kicks 15 goals.
Oh, that'd be fun. And so does Darcy for some reason. Just everyone kicks all the goals. Bonapelli kicks 7.
Isaac Kako kicks the sole goal. Because they got no Nate Caddy either. So, keep your phone handy, Liam. You might be playing key forward for Essendon this week.
Do you know what? We'll do. I probably I won't make any leads. I'll just box out like I do in basketball. Just stick my butt in, just kind of go like this and just hope the ball comes to me.
That's what Peter Rudd does. So
bloody true.
There'll be 2 of you.
Who to choose? All right, let's finish it off so I can go to bed. What is the last game of the round? Let's go.
Just for the viewers' reference, the time is currently 5:14 p.m. It is Hawthorn versus Geelong on the traditional Easter Monday blockbuster, and this should be just that. The Hollywood Hawks taking on the steely Geelong Cats. It's a hero versus villain. The age-old blockbuster of the Kennett curse comes back to us for another season. Vin, one of football's great traditions around the Easter period. Who are you tipping?
It's a coin flip for old Vinny. He's gone Geelong, but only with the one. He thinks that Geelong, so far this season, have shown their slightly better side. Hawthorn are obviously still dangerous. And funnily enough, he's talked about travel here, which is funny. I won't mention that because it may look Vin look really stupid. And he's doing a good job.
So you will already. So you'll protect Vin.
Travel and early season unpredictability is all it seems. But they're both playing in Melbourne. Vin, you silly biscuit. But he's gone Geelong with 1, Jesse. Your thoughts?
It's a long V line from Geelong to Southern Cross, and then you have to get the tram to the G because that's how elite athletes are obviously going to travel to the game. I'm Hawthorn with 5 here. This is every type of game that I think Geelong are vulnerable in. At the same time, being the type of game that Hawthorn excel in. Fun, exciting sides that just do not leave you alone can be the thorn in Geelong's side, the chink in their armour. If Hawthorn can get a roll going, I think they're going to be very hard to beat here. This is a fantastic opportunity for the Hawks to get a win. Equally, I know with 5 confidence points, you wouldn't think this, it wouldn't surprise me if Geelong won. They're just such a professional side. But I'm pretty keen to see what Hawthorn can do. I think this is a real litmus test for them, and I'm expecting them to come through with flying colours.
Yeah, I think very similar to the Hawks with 4 for me. I think similar to the Dockers. I think this is one of those games that's going to show where Hawks are really at as well. Copy and paste everything you've just said, Jesse. Couldn't have said it better myself, and I really do. All right, Jesse, that is all of the games for round 4. Thank you, everyone, for sticking through with me. Apologies. Next week, we'll be back in fighting fit, I'm sure. By the way, I mean me, and hopefully Jesse's still fine as well. Jesse, send the lovely people home.
And Vin, don't forget Vin. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the Sentiment of Perfect AFL podcast. If you enjoyed this, a like and a subscribe. But the best way to pass us on is word of mouth. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the Easter Bunny, tell the department store workers when you go and get your discounted chocolate following Easter to tune in to the Sentiment of Perfect AFL podcast. We don't need the generic radio stations in the store, just us at all times. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your Easter, enjoy your footy. We'll see you next week on the Sentiment of Perfect AFL podcast.
Bye, everybody.